I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for qualifying for, yes, the first playoff race of Season 7 of the NNSCRA Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. Last week at Auto Club, we had our 17, yes, you heard that right, 17 drivers lock themselves into the postseason. And the road begins here tonight for those drivers. But by the way, there's another 25 drivers in the field. They want to get the checker flag just as much as the playoff contenders. So we will see how it pans out during the course of this weekend from Gateway International. Of course, we got a doubleheader going on this week. Later on this afternoon, we've got the Duracell Ultra Light Series drivers that will take here to the racetrack tomorrow afternoon. Will be the first playoff race for the Cup Series here in Season 7, and we're determining the starting lineup right here and now. 42 drivers qualifying for this event, so there will be no knockout queue. Therefore, there will only be 2 rounds. Top 10 here from this first round. We'll move on to run for the pole position, and you got to wonder how much emphasis the playoff contenders have put on track position for tomorrow's race here from Gateway. We will have to see via the speed charts. It's like the first car that's going to be officially putting down a time is going to be Cole Deaver in the 3. Cole Deaver 37th in overall points, still looking for his first top 5 on the year. He's one of 2 drivers that have yet to score a top 5 this season of the full-time drivers, Benjamin Miles being the other. Remember, Cole Deaver back in his rookie season was in the playoffs, was a 2-time winner, but is trying to find his way back to victory lane. Maybe he could do so tomorrow. As Deaver, I believe, will have to make one more lap before he has an official up-to-speed lap time set. Got some drivers that have crossed the start finish line, put some lap times up on the board, but it's still their up-to-speed lap times as well. 17 drivers, as I said, made their way into the playoffs because we ended up having a tie for the final wildcard spot between Zach Rogers and Dylan Young. Therefore, they both ended up making it into the playoffs. We were originally planning for 16 drivers, and we ended up with 17. As Deaver crosses the line, 33.142, going to be the first official lap time set here in this 20-minute session. Looks like that lap time's already being bested, as we're going to take you through the field here. You'll see your 17 playoff contenders during the course of this event. As Michael Norman in the 22 was in a must-win situation last week, was unable to get the job done. 3-time winner last season, was in the playoffs, had a couple of his wins during the playoffs to advance through the respective rounds. But he is 19th overall in the point standings right now. I believe, according to scoring, he is the second highest driver in points that's outside of the playoffs. Casey Hoyt, a 3-time winner this season, leading the rookie points, and is in currently a 4-way tie for the points lead with the reformatted points. He, along with James Qualls and Connor Breton, with their 3 wins, are at 1,015 points, but Rob Evans, who doesn't have a victory this season, gets 15 playoff points for being the regular season champion, so he makes up the fourth driver in that four-way tie. All three of the Lake Effect Autosports cars managed to make it into the playoffs this season as well, and there's a big question mark as to if any of those drivers are planning on returning next year. So I guess if the team's going to go out, it's going out in a big, big way. Daniel Voiles, two-time winner last year, looking for his first victory on the season. There's a bunch of drivers that are just looking to end out the season on a high note in preparation for next year. Daniel Voiles would be one of those drivers, as he is 38th in overall points. The announcement was made over a month ago that Daniel Voiles was going to be returning in the single car entry next season in Duracell Cup Series competition. Going to be looking for a little bit better results. Anthony McCrory. Anthony's 26th in overall points, only one top 5 on the season, but we've seen maybe a little bit more consistency out of him this year than we've seen in years past, and of course, still trying to get used to the Mazda out of Fortnite Squad Racing. He'll be back in the Mazda with Garage 55 next season, and maybe having this one season under his belt, we'll maybe see Anthony get his first career Duracell Cup Series win. Quentin Moore was in the playoffs last year as a rookie, made his way in via his Dover victory. This year, though, 30th in overall points, only one top 5 on the year, and that's his only top 10 as well. So another driver just looking to close out the season strong in preparation for his upcoming third full-time season with Joanna Atwood Motorsports. Another driver that's announced he's returning next year to Northeast Motorsports, Benjamin Miles. Benjamin, 40th in overall points. We mentioned he and Cole Deaver, the only two that have yet to score a top 5 yet this year. So Miles will be looking here during the playoffs to maybe snag a win before the end of the season, but at least try and get some momentum in preparation for Season 8. Same here for Joshua Osborne. 33rd in overall points coming to this one. He was a playoff contender last year after getting his first career win at Pocono. This year has struggled. And he will also, much like the aforementioned drivers like Deaver and Voiles and Miles, he'll be looking to close out the season as strong as he can. Ryan Brommer, 34th in overall points, a former contender for the championship in the Final Four back in Season 2. Getting ready to try to finish out the year on a high note in the current Toyota Camry. It was announced that in Season 8, the Fords will be going over to the Dark Horse Mustangs, and the Toyotas will be going over to the 2024 Toyota Camry XSEs. So there may be a period of adjustment for the Ford and Toyota drivers, as we're looking at a Chevrolet driver, former champion Kyle Matthews. Kyle coming into this race 39th in overall points. Had 2 back-to-back really good seasons. Of course, won the championship in Season 5 and made it into the playoffs in Season 6. This season has not been kind to him, though, as he is another driver that only has one top 5 on the season so far, and an average finishing position of worse than 25th in the first 26 races. Taking some time to find some more playoff contenders. Casey Hoyt's the only one we documented. Mitchell Collins was very nearly a playoff contender. He missed out by about 10 points of getting into the top 10 in overall standings. First driver on the outside looking in, 18th in overall points coming into this race. Mitchell Collins has not announced his plans for Season 8, so this may be his swan song season, and he'd like to at least find victory lane at least once, if not a couple times, before the conclusion. We mentioned about the tie for the final playoff position, the final wild card spot. Zach Rogers, who spent the first half of the regular season, actually about the first 2/3 of the regular season, outside of the top 30 in points, and of getting that win at Atlanta. He tied Dylan Young for the final wild card position, and he is battling for the championship here in Season 7. Will Goss rookie full-time after winning the Showcase Championship last year. Young Motorsports signed him on. Will Goss went to victory lane twice, including most recently at Homestead Miami Speedway. And Will Goss looking to give Young Motorsports potentially a championship here in Season 7. It would be the first time ever that a rookie has won the championship. We won't count Season 1 because everybody was a rookie at that point in time, but we've never had a rookie win the championship. We've got, I believe, 3 rookies that are in the championship hunt this season: Casey Hoyt, Will Goss, and Connor Breton. James Qualls, who has 3 victories on the season, in that 4-way tie for the points lead with his bonus points, putting him in a tie with Rob Evans, Casey Hoyt, and Connor Breton. James Qualls, you got to think that he comes in as one of the favorites. The only Joanna Atwood Motorsports to make it into the playoffs this season, when last season it was his 2 teammates, Osborne and Quentin Moore, that made it in, and he was eliminated. You think about the difference a season makes, and of course the new format for the playoffs helped out as well. James Qualls last year was consistent. He was in the top 10 in the point standings, but because he didn't have a win, he didn't make it into the postseason. This year, he was top 10 in points, but he also found victory lane 3 times, so took care of that scenario both ways. Rob Evans, still searching for that first checkered flag of his Duracell Cup Series career, but he will be going playoff racing. Won the regular season championship over Casey Hoyt by 4 points last week. Correction, I believe it was actually 6 points over Casey Hoyt last week. Subsequently got those 15 bonus points. It comes into this race tied for the overall points lead. Been the most consistent driver here in the first 26 races. Can he do the same here in the final 10 races? I'm trying to recall, and I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, so I'll try and maybe have this statistic for tomorrow afternoon's race. I don't know if we've ever had a driver win the championship without at least taking 1 checkered flag in the season that they won the championship in. I don't think that's ever happened. RJ Bishop, another driver that's just trying to finish out the season on a high note, 31st in overall points. He's seen all 3 of his Young Motorsports teammates make it into the playoffs. Destin Bolin on points, Will Goss and Dylan Young on victories. So RJ Bishop, who right now is top of the board, try to maybe see if he can pick up his first victory on the season. Get some momentum in preparation for Season 8. Reggie Fogelman, another driver that's looking to get some momentum for Season 8. We saw him last week make his debut for Haas Racing. Qualified his way into the field. He's back behind the wheel of the number 80 again this week. We'll see him also for the next 3 races, attempting to qualify this car. Right now, he's 8th on the board. He knows he's locked into the show and looking to run for the pole position later on here in the Fast 10. Chris Dollerton, who was the very first champion here in the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. More than likely, as things are currently standing, it looks like he may not be returning to the Duracell Cup Series next year. There's been no confirmation on that. Dollerton was a long shot driver to point his way into the top 10 last week at Auto Club. Was unable to do so, though. 20th in overall points is where he currently stands, 3rd highest driver outside of the playoffs. And I was waiting until we got to his teammate here, Caleb Fogler, because Caleb not only comes into this race in the playoffs, second time he's appeared in the playoffs. First time was back in Season 5 in the conglomerate effort out of S3 Motorsports with Stephen Pollard III and Kyle Matthews, which they went on to win that championship. But Caleb Fogler also is the defending winner of this race here at Gateway. And it's interesting because I brought up at the beginning of this session, drivers putting some emphasis on good starting track position. Well, that'll be important at the beginning of the race, but Caleb Fogler ended up winning this race 1 season ago after rolling off the grid from the 25th position. So it doesn't necessarily follow that track position is going to be all that important in the beginning of this race. Also, if you may have noticed, our playoff contenders, you could tell them apart from those that are not in the playoffs with the Duracell Gold and Copper on the driver banner, front splitter, and rear spoiler. Zachary Fitzwater just missed out, a former winner this season, but too far down in the point standings to contend for a wild card spot. Fitzwater's 28th in overall standings, and so he'll look to have his first multiple win season. Fitzwater has yet to have that. He was a winner last year at Indianapolis. That was his only win of the season in season 6, and only so far one win this season in season 7. Jose Mills, most winningest driver in the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. He missed out on pointing his way into the top 10 or winning his way into a wild card spot. 22nd in overall points for Jose. Right now holds the final spot that would transfer into the second and final round of qualifying, currently sitting in P10. Matt McIntyre, he was in a must-win situation last week. Was unable to win his way into the playoffs. Matt coming to this race 32nd in overall points. And another driver looking for some good momentum in preparation for next year, as he will return to the number 21 out of Michael Norman Motorsports in Season 8. Jesse Turner, playoff contender, made his way in via top 10 in points, but of course had a victory as well to fall back on. Right now 14th on the board, the second of the Lake Effect Auto Sports cars that we've seen that made their way into the playoffs. Jesse Turner right now would be in the 8th seed, the highest of the one-time winners on the year at 1,005 points. There's another of our 3-time winners. That's Connor Breton, one of the 3 rookies that's made his way into the playoffs. Breton last week, top 5 run that, actually I believe it was a top 10 run, that got it back into the top 30 in points. Connor Breton looking to make the Final Four for the second straight time for the number 88. Jack Dunnard did it 1 season ago. Levi McIntyre, another former winner on the season that failed to make it into the playoffs. He's 23rd in overall standings, but he wasn't close enough to get into a wildcard conversation in that battle with Zach Rogers and Dylan Young. I think he could kind of go back to his back-to-back DNF finishes in races 24 and 25 that really hurt his chances of making it in. So Levi McIntyre will look to find victory lane a couple more times here before the close of the year. Same here for these non-playoff contenders. Laura Chung, who was a playoff driver last season in her rookie campaign. This season, though, really struggled. She's 36th in overall points coming to this one, still looking for her first win on the season. And Cody Lamas, in his second full-time season as an owner-driver out of Llama Racing, Cody 24th in overall points coming to this one, still searching for that first victory of Season 7. There is the third Lake Effect Auto Sport car to make it into the playoffs. We saw Reese Banks win during the playoffs last year, but he wasn't in the battle for the championship. This season, he hasn't gone to victory lane yet, but he was the last driver to make it in on points, sniping the 10th position in overall standings and making his first playoff appearance. We'll see how he does. A driver that will not be able to defend his championship crown is Charles Sanford. Sanford unable to make it into this year's postseason, coming in as the defending champ. Charles Sanford 25th in overall points. S3 Motorsports has a shot of going back to back to back in the championships, but they've only got one driver contending this year, and we're going to be seeing that driver in just a few moments. We look at another playoff driver. That's Ryan Butcher. Ryan Butcher with a little deja vu from Season 6 to Season 7, winning at Bristol Dirt to clinch himself a spot via wild card. Ryan Butcher right now 11th seed of the drivers that are the playoff contenders. That would be the, I believe, 4th highest of the one-time winners as things are currently scored. Destin Bolin making his way around Jessica Shelton, so we'll talk about Shelton in just a moment. Destin Bolin was a 3-time winner last year to advance his way into the playoffs. This year, a 0 in the win column, but he's been very, very consistent. One of 3 young motorsports cars they'll be battling for the championship this year. Destin, unfortunately though, because he doesn't have a victory, when the playoff points were reformatted, he comes into this race below the cut line. He is 15th in overall points. Remember, the top 12 will advance at our first elimination race which means that 5 drivers will be eliminated at the end of round 1. There's Jessica Shelton. Last year, we ended up having the Project Mazda out of Fortnite Squad Racing with Nick Gunther making it into the playoffs. This year, it's the Project Dodge Intrepid out of S3 Motorsports. Jessica Shelton, a 3-time winner on the season. Correction, a 2-time winner on the season. 7th in the playoff standings coming into this one. And as I said, looking to make it 3 straight years that S3 Motorsports takes the championship trophy. Matt Haas in the 8. One season ago, Matt Haas got eliminated from the playoffs for not having a victory, but finishing up in the top 5 in overall points. This season, though, 29th in overall standings. Another driver that will be moving over and getting used to the 2024 Toyota Camry XSE in Season 8. Another of our playoff drivers, Matthew Rodriguez. He'll be behind the wheel of the 24 for this race and the next 3 races at least. Matthew Rodriguez, a 2-time winner on the season, was supposed to start out the year as a part-time driver, but he won the Daytona 500. And then he ended up going on to also win Indianapolis. Made his way into the top 30 in points to clinch a wild card spot. He is 5th in the playoff standings coming this one, the highest of the 2-time winners. And you look at Matthew Rodriguez and the journey he's been on here this season, I don't think any driver is ever going to have the resume that he's had here this year. Not only winning 2 of the 4 Crown Jewel races, but up to this point running in 3 different manufacturers. He's running a Toyota for Haas Racing, a Ford for Bishop Family Racing, and now a Chevrolet for Northeast Motorsports. I think I saw the 31 of Dylan Pote coming down pit road. We'll try and find him in just a moment. Keith Batson, though, in the championship conversation once again. This time, though, be a top 10 in the point standings as he finished 9th in the regular season points. And the session is complete, so we aren't even able to cycle through the rest of the drivers there. So we weren't able to cover some other playoff contenders like Dylan Poteet or Dylan Young or Austin LaPlante. But obviously, we'll see where all those playoff contenders qualified here, as Keith Batson, that we just finished up with, he was the fastest in round 1. And so he is going to move on to run for the pole position, along with R.J. Bishop, Ryan Butcher, Anthony McCrory, Reese Banks. Then last week's winner, Nick Gunther, Jessica Shelton, Reggie Fogelman, Casey Hoyt, and Jose Mills. Only 4, I believe, if my counting is correct. Playoff contenders. Nope, 5 playoff contenders advancing into our Fast 10, that being Batson, Butcher, Banks, Shelton, and Hoyt. And then for our rest of our playoff contenders, where they were in this session is where they are going to be starting tomorrow's race, as we had 42 drivers qualify. So Dylan Pote will be 12th, Will Goss 13th, Jesse Turner 14th, Austin LaPlante 19th, Destin Bolin 21st, James Qualls 27th, Matthew Rodriguez in 28th, Zach Rogers 32nd, his teammate Rob Evans 33rd, Dylan Young 34th, Caleb Fogler will start this race all the way back in 39th, and Connor Breton will be the driver that starts the furthest back of the playoff contenders. He will start shotgun on the field. But like I said, one season ago, Caleb Fogler won this race for what was actually his first career win, and he did so from the 25th position. So track position may not be all that terribly important. We're just going to have to wait and see. But 10 drivers will move on to run for the pole, 5 of them playoff contenders. Let's see who's going to be leading us to the green in our first playoff race here in Season 7, right after this quick race break. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. 5 minutes on the clock here as we get set with our Fast 10 to hit the racetrack. Trying to run for this pole position. 5 of the drivers here, playoff contenders. A couple of them maybe kind of important that they advanced into this final round, looking particularly at Keith Batson and Reese Banks, because remember, neither of them had a victory on the season. They pointed their way in, so with not having the bonus points, with the 5 bonus points per win to their benefit, they come into this first playoff race already below the cut line. The 5 drivers that are actually below the cut line as things would stand would be Dylan Young, Austin LaPlante, Destin Bolin, and then Keith Batson and Reese Banks. So the 2 lowest in our current playoff standings after everything was reformatted are both in this final round of qualifying. We'll see if either one of them can capture the pole along with the other 3 playoff contenders and the 5 non-playoff drivers that made it here into this round. A couple of drivers that really surprise, and that's in a good way. Both the Mazdas, Nick Gunther and Anthony McCurry, managed to advance here into this round of 10, and Reggie Fogelman for the 2nd straight week in that Haas Racing entry advances into the Fast 10. So it looks like that pairing is working out very well. Of course, Reggie Fogelman will be running full-time next year over at Haas Racing in the number 5 car. RJ Bishop was one of the drivers that was out in the early going of the first session, paced most of the first round before eventually Keith Batson was able to top him and move him down to 2nd. RJ apparently feeling that the clean racetrack is the way to go in order to be able to put down that lap time that might capture the pole position. RJ still looking for his first pole here of Season 7. And he'll set the tone with a 33.686 to begin with. Reggie Fogelman coming out along with Nick Gunther's Mazda. Jose Mills already up to speed. Reese Banks with some draft potentially there off the back of Keith Batson. Clocks in at a 33.488. Reese looking for his 2nd pole on the year. There's his teammate Casey Hoyt, who right now is 2nd on the board at a 33.555 and now drops to 3rd fastest. Ryan Butcher coming out as RJ Bishop jumped up to 2nd, 33.358. Jose Mills, top of the board, 33.244. Getting a little drop there off the back of Reggie Fogelman. 33.321 for Reese Banks. So that tops the lap time put down by Jose Mills. Top of the board right now is Casey Hoyt, 33.139. So currently, well, I was going to say currently, you had Lake Effect Autosports cars on the front row, but Reese Banks just dropped down to 3rd quickest as Jose Mills jumps back to the top of the board and immediately drops to 3rd. Keith Batson jumps up to 2nd at a 33.041. Reese Banks to the top, 33.018. A little more than a minute remaining here. They keep trading back and forth. You got to wonder at what point do the tires get worn down enough and the speeds start to dissipate. This looks like it might be a very good lap here for Reese Banks. I think he'll improve. Can he get into the 32s? No, actually he was slower. He was 16 thousandths slower that time at a 0.34. 2/10 slower was Keith Batson. Was that the point there where drivers have put down their best laps? Have the tires worn out? Ryan Butcher just improved from 9th to 7th at a 33.241. RJ Bishop to his inside, jumped to the 2nd on the board just a moment ago. 33.022. That is 4 1,000ths off of Reese Banks. And now he dropped to 3rd. Who just stepped up this time? It's Keith Batson, 32.742. First driver to break into the 32-second bracket with a nice draft lap off of Anthony McCurry's Mazda. And with 10 seconds left, that might be the pole lap. Batson was the fastest in round 1 at a 32.642. And this time only a 10th off at a 32.742. No improvement there, though he does not lose the top spot. And Keith Batson may be the fastest driver in Gateway. Just a stone's throw from the Arch in St. Louis. And it looks like Keith Batson is going to sweep the night in qualifying. Fastest in round 1, fastest in round 2. Reese Banks right behind him at a 32.946. Looks like he will be on the front row with Keith Batson. The lowest two in the playoff standings are going to be the front row for tomorrow afternoon's race. RJ Bishop and Casey Hoyt, along with Jose Mills, will make it a blue oval-filled top 5. So Keith Batson capturing his, I believe it's his first pole of the season. Let me double check on that. Yes, it is his first pole on the year. And what a time to get it, as he will be leading us to green tomorrow. Take a look at the top 10. Reese Banks will join him. Playoff contenders will have the front row. RJ Bishop will be joined with Casey Hoyt on row 2. And then Jose Mills sweeps the top 5 for the 5 Fords that advanced into this final round. Reggie Fogelman will be the highest starting Toyota tomorrow, as he will be P6. Anthony McCurry and Nick Gunther, the Mazdas, will be in row 4. And then playoff contenders Ryan Butcher and Jessica Shelton will be the completion of the top 10 for tomorrow's starting lineup. Should be a good one. Cannot wait to see if we have a win in your in scenario for the next round. Will one of our 17 playoff contenders take the checkered flag tomorrow evening, or will it be one of our 25 non-playoff drivers saying, hey, I may not be in the championship hunt, but I still want to have a victory here in Season 7. Cannot wait to find out. Hope you'll join us for that, but also join us later on today as we've got the Duracell Ultralight Series drivers here at Gateway International. Until then, though, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.